Well, hello again, everyone. I think this is my third website or whatever. This is StreamYard. So I think we're doing the whole thing. So some of you are going to have to give Aaron a huge round of applause from our SADS staff for doing all this. I don't know what kind of liquid she might need to drink tonight when this is all done. I suspect it will be, of course, maybe the buy drink that I told you guys about. No free advertising there. Speaking of advertising, though, I want to again thank our conference sponsors. This conference would not have been possible without the generous, unrestricted industry support from Invitae as our conference sponsor, and Ambry Genetics sponsoring one of the afternoon sessions, and LifeSure sponsoring one of our other sessions. This program also, and SADS Foundation, would not be possible without our volunteers. I want to challenge all of you. We have 400 of you, I guess, from across the globe. I think Alice said 30 countries or some amazing number. We have our website, www.sads.org, or if you like how I like it, stopsads.org. You get there. And on that website, in the top right corner, it says Donate Now. I do. All of our board, our vice president, Dr. Susan Etheridge, who you heard speak just a couple hours ago, she gives. The entire board are 100% givers of our mission. And I'd love you to join in that mission in whatever tangible financial way, and show it with some skin in the game, whether it's a buck or a buck with zeros added to the end. I want to recognize some volunteers who are the kids, amazing kids. This is the Walk for Beat SADS Connect team. Walk for the Beat SADS, and they have beaten SADS. They raised the most donations in this competition, over $4,000, 4,344 to be exact. That's 4,344, and they won. And you'll see Bella, raise your hand, Bella Flores. There's Bella, numero uno. She raised the most money, and she attends kids and teens chat and game nights, and she and her family are amazing. The one who had the most donors that were assembled, Lily Sawyer, raise your hand, Lily. Great job. And Keon Bennett has shared a SAD spotlight story. I enjoyed reading that one, and Keon was telling me about his story in the teen chat room just an hour ago, and he regularly attends the kids and teens chat and game nights. And you three are amazing. I'm impressed. The world's in good hands with teenagers like you who will be growing up. So appreciate all that you do on behalf of the SADS Foundation. Thank you. And you can open your packages all together and see what's in there from Jan. Jan is the Director of Development for the SADS Foundation. And so, Jan, thanks for all your work with these fundraisers, these future philanthropists. And what do we have? Oh, nice. So these are not what you call participation trophies. I'm not a big fan of everybody getting a trophy just for breathing. These are the real deal of what you get when you actually achieve something, earn something, do something. And you guys are the doers. So congratulations. I want you to stay there because I need to take a picture of you guys so I can tweet this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I think I did it. All right, let's give them a big hand. Guys, keep up the great work, and all the best to you. And so thanks, Bella, Lily, and Keon. And now I'm going to have Aaron bring up our second volunteer award, and that's Jenna B Eckles. Jenna B is an amazing woman. She's been a long-term SADS volunteer and ambassador for the SADS Foundation. She's been hosting virtual family meetings this year. She's also the host of the weekly kids and teens chat and game nights, heart-to-heart family chat. She's helped make you guys all connected in ways that we haven't seen before. And she was the past program committee member for our conference last year, the 2019 conference in Atlanta. So Genevieve, for all that you do, thank you. On behalf of the SADS Foundation, you're invited to open your package, a token of our appreciation and gratitude for your volunteerism. Thanks, Genevieve.
Thank you.
Let's see what's in there. And drum roll. This was wrapped good, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're wrapped.
Yeah, the suspense among 400 people and myself is killing me. And just again, really thank you. Amazing work on your part. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, this brings us to a very special segment in today's program for our Pioneer Scientist Award. So I think if Aaron and everybody can bring people on so that I can make some comments and introductions. Dr. Mark Keating, wow, great to see you.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. My man, Dr. Igor Splowski.
Mike.
Amazing flashback memory. You guys look great. And Dr. Michael Sanguinetti. Great seeing the three of you. Wow, this is fun.
Hey, guys.
And I think Aaron's going to be trying to bring in Catherine Timothy. And there
Hi, guys.
Catherine.
Catherine, how are you?
I'm good. And you?
Very good.
Igor, you've grown up.
I have grown up in the wrong direction.
No. Oh, it's good to see you guys. How are you, Mark?
Great. Great.
All your hair's gone.
Well, it's been gone for a while, Catherine. It was, I caught it from Igor.
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
But Mike,
This will
Mike.
be the challenge for 400 people out there watching and beyond is of the 4 men or the 4 people with a Y chromosome, whose head looked different from all the rest?
That's because Mike doesn't have a Y chromosome.
Oh man. And I think, Aaron, if you're able to bring in the vice president of the SADS Foundation board, drum roll, on cue, Dr. Susan Etheridge. Well, everybody, this is a great moment for us in SADS Foundation and for all of those of you watching on WOVA. If you didn't catch them, I will have them give a wave or a thumbs up. I think you'll be able to figure out one of the 4 without introduction, but on next to me is Dr. Mark Keating. And next to him on my screen is Dr. Michael Sanguinetti, Dr. Igor Splowski.
Wait, Igor.
Igor, I know we can deduce which one's you without you doing anything, but give a thumbs up anyway. Or grab the earring. Oh no!
Oh, he left.
And then we have Catherine Timothy. I know Aaron will try to bring Igor back on, and while they're doing that, I'm just going to make some few comments for those of you who are watching us now on WOVA. from the program. The SADS Foundation would like to present the Pioneer Scientist Award to these 4 amazing people. And I just wanted to do a little stroll down memory lane together. 28 years ago plus, Dr. G. Michael Vincent founded the SADS Foundation. He's now the late Dr. Vincent from Salt Lake City. And this was back then what I called the Salt Lake City Dream Team. So if you guys all remember the Dream Team of Air Jordan, the great Michael Jordan, the GOAT, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, that was the Dream Team in basketball with Olympic gold. But this is...
They were missing some hair too, as I recall.
They were. So there must be a connection there. There must be a common phenotype.
Right.
But this is the Dream Team. And this was an amazing time to be in Salt Lake City and to be doing what they did in the early 90s. And just want to connect the dots to my journey, because Dr. Mark Keating, I don't know if he ever knows it, but he was absolutely the inspiration that launched my career. So 1990 early.
Glad to hear it.
I'm 1995, about ready to graduate from medical school and graduate school. As Mark knows, I did my PhD from 90 to 93, 94 with David Clapham, studying these things that seemed at that time so esoteric, called ion channels. Published in Cell, the swelling activated chloride channel, but it never seemed to matter to humanity. And so I left, finished graduate school, returned to medical school, vowed that I would never, ever, ever do research again. And then something happened, November 96, my first night of call in the pediatric intensive care unit. I admit 10-year-old Jonathan, who was pulled from the swimming pool. And as I was the admitting pediatric resident, I said, I wonder, because he got defibrillated after being retrieved from the pool, I wonder if that's that long QT thing. And then that was the epiphany. The epiphany wasn't Igor popping back on the screen. Hey, Igor.
I'm very close, but not that close.
The epiphany was that night, I knew who I was going to be when I grew up, because I knew a lot about ion channels from Dr. Clapham. And now I had a close encounter with a child who almost died from an ion channel problem, because indeed, he had not only long QT syndrome, but he had the swimming version of long QT syndrome of LQT1. Why is November 1996 exactly the right time to have been a resident who abandoned science and then saw the light and returned? Well, it's because of Dr. Mark Keating, Dr. Michael Sanguinetti, Dr. Igor Splowski, Catherine Timothy, and Dr. Michael Vincent. Because you see, just the year before, in March 1995, for the rest of the world, it was birthed before that, but in March of 1995, 25 years ago, Dr. Mark Keating and his team birthed the entire discipline of the cardiac channelopathies with back-to-back papers in Cell of the LQT2 gene and the LQT3 gene, followed 1996 with the LQT1 gene. And there it began, and it has been an amazing journey for the last 25 years with what they brought into existence. And they did it because they had the dream team. They had amazing phenotypers in Dr. Michael Vincent and the families that were assembled and characterized by Catherine Timothy. And then they had Dr. Keating, Sanguinetti, and Igor. Igor, one of the most tenacious pit bull-like detectives to sleuth and search the genetic code until truth emerged. And this has been so amazing. I said yesterday, Mark, and I'll say it again to you, with you there. I've said for a long time, and I said it when I interviewed Dr. Robert Nussbaum, the CMO of Invitae, I still believe that you should have received the Nobel Prize in Medicine for that discovery, because I believe that that discovery, you and Cricket Seidman for 1989 and birthing the whole field of sarcomeric cardiomyopathy, the genetic cardiomyopathies, and then you and your team birthing the channelopathies is absolutely Nobel Prize medicine worthy. And I've always felt that. I thought it should have been given long ago. But we have Dr. Mark Keating, who's now Senior Distinguished Scientist at Alnylam Pharmaceuticals, and you know everything he did. Michael Sanguinetti, who is now Professor Emeritus at University of Utah School of Medicine. His cellular electrophysiologic characterization of these channels and what the mutations did to these channels was top flight, best patch clamping studies, set the mark for how to do cellular electrophysiology. Igor Splowski, who's now Chief Scientific Officer at CureVac, and still has the same earrings when I met him. I think those are the same ones, Igor. But Igor, I just love you. I mean, you and I have had this connection forever, and I'm almost in tears thinking about how long it's been since I've actually visually seen you. But they not only did the trifecta in 1995 and 1996, they didn't then just go away. 8 years later or 7 years later, they rounded it out. They added to the trilogy because of Catherine Timothy, and through collecting all of these families, started to collect a subgroup who had impressive QT prolongation, but they also had impressively fused digits of the fingers and toes syndactyly. And Igor and Catherine from that and Mark's team then published in 2004 the Cell paper that added to it the syndrome, the genetic basis for QT and syndactyly. And it was initially missed and missed for years, but not with Igor on the team. No. He would go through the data and oh, a little genetic trickery was there. It's called exon 8A, the alternative exon, and that's where the mutation resided. And what was it called? This syndrome then becomes called Timothy syndrome in honor of Catherine Timothy. And Mark Keating said this has to be called Timothy syndrome because we never would have assembled this collective phenotype without the incredible phenotyping skills, the clinical taxonomy and classification that Catherine, as the longtime clinical coordinator, study coordinator on Dr. Michael Vincent's clinical team. And so Catherine had 20 years of being a dedicated phenotyper and assembled all the information. So I think for our first 28 years in the making of the SADS Foundation to then provide and recognize long overdue our pioneer scientists for the SADS Foundation. Let's put it all together, hands together. Dr. Mark Keating, Dr. Michael Sanguinetti, Dr. Igor Splowski, and Catherine Timothy. Congratulations to the four of you. Amazing journey. And Mark, could I let you sort of give us some thoughts as you reflect on now the 25th anniversary of the birth of the cardiac channelopathies?
Sure. Well, you're right. It was an amazing time. For me, it really started in 1989 when I moved to Salt Lake City. And one of my earliest memories was of Catherine, because we had the first holiday was Halloween, and she was very kind to me. I was all alone. And we spent a lot of time together those first few months reading the Christensen family, 1532, their electrocardiograms over and over again until we were satisfied that we had come up with some phenotypic criteria that we could live with as we started to do linkage studies. And then Igor joined, I think, about 91. Is that right, Igor? Igor, what year did you come to Salt Lake?
I think it was June 28th of 1993.
93.
A month. Yes.
And Igor did not come to Salt Lake City to work with Catherine or with me. He came to Salt Lake City because he wanted to watch the Utah Jazz. That was the main criterion. It was the mailman and their entourage, who were defeated by Michael Jordan, sadly. And then I think Mike joined in about 94. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, 93, 94.
93, 94, coming from Pennsylvania. So we collected a group of excellent people, and there were a bunch of other really good people in the laboratory, both my laboratory as well as Mike's laboratory, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was the very early days of hunting for human disease genes. Mike, of course, had discovered these channels, these currents at least, in cardiac myocytes a decade earlier, so he already knew what we were looking for. We just needed to find them. So we're catching up with Mike, and it was a lot of fun. It was very exciting. I remember writing the papers. It seemed to me we wrote them overnight practically. And everyone would just stay there until we were done, and they were beautiful. There were only a few small mistakes in them. I guess one of the bigger mistakes was we forgot the open channel, right, Mike? For which one? That was HERG, I guess.
Yeah.
But small things that we corrected. Other than that, they were things of beauty. So it was a lot of fun, and I wish I could go back to those days and relive them. It was great.
Amazing days. It was just absolutely amazing time. And Michael, things as you think back on what that was like and what that did and created for our entire field now.
Well, Mike was actually spending most of his time riding bikes and teaching me how to ride a bike.
That's true.
Mhm.
No, it's great to work with geneticists and the physiology lab together. Is really obviously productive, but also fun to have that sort of synergy, learn from each other, make what the other was doing more powerful, just by putting the two together. And we always had T-shirts. Remember that?
Yeah.
For every discovery. I think the one for HERG was, I don't remember exactly, but something like, oh no, it was for KCNQ1. It was so KCNQ1 plus min-K equals IKR,
Right.
physics, physiology, synergy.
Yeah.
Logo, So yeah, there was always it was a great time, but obviously important work. It's hard to recognize how important it is at the time, but and it was a lot of fun. Really feeding into the desire to understand things was a big motivator, as well as obviously it being a disastrous disease for those who get it.
Igor, your thoughts? I mean, it's
Well, there'll be no end if I give you all my thoughts. First, I would like to thank the patients and that were participating in our research, and then of course Catherine, Mike, and Mark, from whom I've learned so much, and there were other trailblazers there as well, like Mark Curran and Wong. So it was an amazing time, and maybe I'll or I don't know whether it's entertaining or not, but I'll tell you one or two stories. One was when I joined Mark's lab. Nobody had joined Mark's lab for 3 years. So when I told him that I wanted to join the lab, he told me, would you go and talk to the other 6 people that rotated this year? This year only there were 6 people. that didn't join. So I talked to them and I said, well, you have to work really hard and you have to spend 60 to 70 hours a week. And he would tell you this outright.
Only
So-
70?
That's a small week. That's a short week.
Yes. So I thought, well, maybe that's good. So I told Mark that I will join, and of course, many of you know that Mark and I worked for 23 years together in Utah and at Harvard, and at Novartis in the ophthalmology group and the cardiovascular and metabolism group. So there were so many fun and amazing times. When you were talking about 95 and the publication in Cell, I can tell you also one of the nights I had stayed overnight because I had learned just the week before from somebody how to read radioactive lines on a machine from a company called Molecular Dynamics or something like this. So I had stayed at night so we could publish the sodium channel paper back to back with HERG. And at 7 a.m. I went home, and at 10 a.m. Mark called me and said, Igor, it's time to come back. And on the way, I had to buy bagels. And I remember falling asleep at a light. It's good that it was a red light, so I didn't fall asleep on a green light. And this is how it was. And these were amazing times. Maybe I was mentioning about the hair. It took me years to remove the rest of the little.
The 3 hairs I had on the top of my
I
head.
had even bought him a pair of clippers. that Lori will let it.
Igor,
Oh,
tell them
and of
about
course,
the,
you guys
calcium.
remember
How about the calcium channel one?
which it was a super green, crazy car with white wall tires.
Oh,
Mm.
Catherine, your thoughts as you think back on the team, the time, our late Dr. Vincent, who we all miss. Any thoughts you have as our 4th recipient of the Pioneer Scientist Award?
Well, all I can say is I'm grateful Dr. Vincent wanted me to join his clinical group. That's what started all of this, really, was this big Christensen family that had long QT, and nobody had even heard of long QT back when we started. In fact, I remember when Mark came, he said, "Are you sure this is real?" Any rate, I just want these boys to know how much I love them. I mean, we had such a good, cohesive, unified group. I don't think most researchers have the kind of synergy that we had from each other. I raised Igor. He's the same age as my own kids. And Mark was the little brother I always wanted. And Mike was the gentleman of gentlemen, just always quietly just being there. And I'm so grateful that I was really blessed to be with these men.
we're lucky to have you, Catherine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Angel on earth.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Angel on earth, indeed true. Maybe Susan Etheridge, as Vice President of the board, you were also there. Your final thoughts, and then I know Alice is giving me the signal that they have to move on with the program. So your thoughts. You're muted,
Well, I just
Alice.
want to say thank you for all of the past and all of the future. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All of the past and all of the future patients that I cared for, whose lives you guys changed. I remember caring for these little kids with a very long QT interval and syncope and sending genetic data over to you all and getting results back and being able to actually more efficiently care for these families. I still see the Christiansens. I still see a number of their probably great grandchildren, and we still sit with the grandparents and fondly remember all of you.
Yeah, so to the dream team, congratulations. And on behalf of the SADS Foundation, Mark, Michael, Igor, who dropped off, and Catherine, thank you for all you did. Thank you for the countless hundreds and hundreds of lives that have been saved because you birthed this field for us, that the tools would then follow to be able to find those who have it, dismiss those who don't, effectively treat those who do in a way that back then long QT was largely a death sentence, and now it's a life sentence, and it's a great life where our families live and thrive despite having genetically mediated long QT syndrome. You guys were then and still are my heroes. You inspired me and you gave me a path to follow. And so thanks, thank you, and job beyond well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We also gave you your hairstyle.
And Igor, I have more than 3. Well, Aaron, if you'll bring things up to the next, and I know for those of you watching, you're going to now see Dr. Jeff Kim shortly revealing to us what our plans are, and welcome you all to Houston, Texas for the SADS Conference 2021, when we trust we will be live again. And this thing called COVID-19 pandemic will finally be in the rearview mirror, and we can join everybody. I don't have the dates, I forget, but you're going to learn the date for November 2021. And come back then. I know you have a great afternoon, everyone, planned. I wish you all the best with the afternoon breakout sessions. And for those of you who are coming back tomorrow for the program dedicated to arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy, ARVC, I hope you have a great program. And so on behalf of my vice president, Dr. Susan Etheridge, all of us on the board, and Alice, Laura, and the team, thanks for being part of today's incredible virtual conference. I wish you all the best. Take care, everyone.